My name is Clare Celeste, and I'm an installation artist. The first installation took me a year, and now it takes me, I can install within a couple days, so it's really been a process of learning and simplifying. I also just used to work with found material, so I would just go and hope to find cool images in thrift stores and things like this. And now that I work more often, I've found online archives that I can pull. Now I can really search for exactly what I want, which it would have been like 6 years ago my dream. So when I realized that these resources existed, they changed everything, and the work became much more focused. Art was always my hobby. I didn't think it was something that I could make money with. You know, I was living in the United States. There's no safety net for artists. It just felt too scary to be a freelancer in that environment. I remember I created my first installation during my year at home with my son, and I was like working in between his naps, and I just created the work during that year. And then he started Kita, and I got a job, and I remember after 1 year at that job just being so unhappy because I realized art as my hobby was really, really important for me. And that all of a sudden there was no more time. Like, it was either I was at work or I was being a mother, or I was like exhausted, you know, at 9 p.m. There was no time to do this thing that I realized was actually like nourishing me and keeping me grounded and happy. And I made this kind of dramatic decision to try to make a go at it and be an artist. And it worked out. Which is like still a surprise for me. I had never done art knowing that I would have to make money from it, but it was really important that I did, because I needed to combine the job with the art in order to have time for the art, so it was this puzzle that I had to solve for myself. Oh, I love Berlin as my base. I grew up all over the world. My dad was a diplomat, so we were constantly moving. I was born in Thailand, then we moved to Brazil, and then the United States, and then Italy, and then Brazil again. And I met my husband in Los Angeles. He's German, and I remember we decided to move to Germany, and I was like, okay, like another move, that's fine with me. And I remember when we had been here for 3 years, which is usually when I would move with my dad's job, like 3 or 4 years, and I got really itchy feet. I was like, okay, it's time for us to go do something else. Like, we have to move. Like, I always moved. And it was the first time in my whole life that I just stayed. And that's when I started doing art. Being an artist is what I always wanted to do. And it was like the foundation of why I never felt fully settled. But I could always distract that knowing by moving. And then you're so busy like acclimating and learning the language and doing all the things that you need to do that you forget this message in the back, which is like, hey, you're not doing what makes you feel happy. Sitting through that discomfort and deciding to stay somewhere and like grow roots, being a mom, like just very grounded life allowed me to finally like listen to that voice and become an artist. Being a mom reminded me of my own mortality and sort of like this like now or never feeling. I didn't have it until I had a child. I was, I don't know, kind of made aware of my own lifespan, and like this generational feeling kind of kicked in, and I had a new urgency to do the things to make myself feel full and happy. I also wanted to be a full and happy person for my son. Like, I wanted him to look at me and know that his mom is satisfied and happy with her life, and that I can like give that back to him. So I think that sometimes there's this feeling that moms have to be so self-sacrificing and just give always. And And I think that that's actually bad both for the mom and for the kids, because when you're like an empty cup, you can't nourish someone else. So I see myself nourishing myself with my art as a way of also nourishing my child's childhood in a way. And I think he really likes and appreciates that I'm an artist. When I was younger, I used to just obsessively draw people. I was always drawing, so I was very interested in the human body. And then it was this sort of slow slide towards being much more interested in nature. I mean, I wonder if part of it is because I'm separated from the place where I grew up, Brazil. Part of my art is a way of trying to get back to that part of myself. I remember I was in Copenhagen and I had this really intense experience. It was cold and gray outside, and I walked into the greenhouse there and I was just hit with this wall of tropical air. And you know how smell just brings back memories so strong? And I just, my eyes filled with tears, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in Brazil. And it was just this feeling of coming in from this cold European winter scene and then being transported back to this place that was so familiar to me. My art is a way of just reconnecting to my childhood home and to the original landscapes that inspired me so much. And there's so many just really strong memories of nature that I have from my childhood that I think, especially now as an adult, as those memories feel far away, I'm really revisiting them as much as I can. It's it was my fantasy when I would fall asleep at night. I would imagine this, having an exhibition at the Saatchi Gallery in London. There's this amazing, huge room, and I just remember seeing it and being like, how incredible would it be to be allowed to fill the space with your art? So that was, and it's something that still is a dream of mine. I don't know, it's I really all I care about right now really is that we have a planet, that if I ever reach that point in my goal, that there is a Saatchi Gallery to visit, and that we're not just being ravaged by climate change. I think that somehow this year, I feel like I woke up to the climate emergency in this way that suddenly really nothing else matters, because this is the problem we have to solve first. Now when I fall asleep, my fantasy is that it's 10 years in the future and we have green energy, and it's not, we have normal politicians. I have this long laundry list of things that I want to resolve themselves in the world so that I can keep dreaming, because I still have these dreams. I just feel like there are so many things that need to be fixed before that dream even matters to me anymore.